Call our public hearing meeting to order. The purpose of the public hearing meeting is to receive public comment on the consideration of a proposed financing contract under General Statute 160A-20 for the Jackson County Administration Building and School projects. Anybody sign up to speak for our public hearing? With no one signed up to speak for public hearing, is there a motion to close public hearing? And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed, or closed. Call our regular meeting to order. First up, everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up this evening, we have our proclamation for Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And whereas Dr. King's teachings can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities. And whereas as the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a National Day of Volunteer Service, and charged the Corporation for National and Community Service with leading this effort. And whereas since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and communities on the King Holiday. And whereas serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. And whereas the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a National Day of Service and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas the King Day of Service projects are being organized by a wide range of nonprofit and community organizations, educational institutions, public agencies, private businesses, and other organizations across the nation. And now, therefore, the Jackson County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim Monday, January 19th, 2026, as Martin Luther King Jr. Day and commend its observation through participation in the Day of Service. All right. Is there a motion for approval of this proclamation?
So moved.
And a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. We don't have anyone here this evening to accept this proclamation. We'll get it to the people that it needs to go to. Moving on now to our agenda and the approval of it. We do have one amendment that needs to be made due to the flu, or number 2 item, new business Parks and Rec, will be moved to a later date. So we just need to approve the agenda with the removal of Parks and Rec master plan.
So moved.
And a second? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Next, moving on to our approval of the regular meeting minutes from December 16th. Everyone's had a chance to look at those, and there are no needs for any amendments. I'll take a motion for approval.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Moving on now to administrative reports. Flu is running rampant. I'm sure Dr. Ayers can speak to the school and in terms of what might be happening in there, but I know up on the plateau it's been starting to catch up with people, COVID as well. So just make sure that everybody's washing their hands, doing their best to protect those, especially the elderly, immunocompromised. Any other commissioners have anything to report this evening? I do. Okay. Before I go to County Manager King, his report.
I just have a couple things. First, I met with the airport authority the other day, and so they are applying for a grant for $2 million for the terminal building. And with that grant, they will be coming to the board probably sometime in March if they receive that to kind of give a public presentation of kind of what they have planned. So, but I did want to let you know that is progressing and that there is a grant going into that. The county administration building bids will be opened on this Thursday, the first round, and so that should be happening around 2 o'clock. And we should know something later on, possibly next week, on the financial piece of that. Since our public hearings over, our application is going to be sent to the LGC. So the next piece of it is getting the documentation from our CMAR contractor. So that's all I've got tonight. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, now to our public comment section. Just a reminder of the rules of public comment. Public comment is designed for us to listen, not to respond. Commissioners won't engage with dialogue or answer questions in this time. This is your 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind, not for us to respond. Public comment is not designed for polling of the board or individuals on this board. So that will not be accepted. And obviously, we've had sign up to speak already in place. Personnel issues can't be discussed in open session. And with that, a reminder, 3 minutes is the time. We're not going to allow any rollover of time to someone else. So at the end of your 3 minutes, that is your time. So with that, first up this evening, we have Kim Oliver. Miss Oliver? Good evening.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Commissioners. My name is Kim Oliver, and I've been a resident of Silver for about 4 years now. I'm the program director of Jackson County's Junior Appalachian Musicians Program, also called JAM. We are a nonprofit that's supported by the North Carolina Arts Council and also the Jackson County Arts Council. We teach children ages 8 to 18 traditional mountain music in order to preserve the musical heritage of Western North Carolina. We offer low-cost lessons, needs-based scholarships, and free loaner instruments to all who need them. Most importantly, we build community. The friendships established between the students and their families have been the most heartwarming experience, really, of my professional career. Since our program relaunched after COVID, about 2.5 years ago, we have served over 100 students and their families that come from all over Jackson County to the Silver Library for jam lessons on Wednesday afternoons. The library was a wonderful location with enough meeting rooms for banjo, fiddle, mandolin, and guitar lessons. The community room was where we gathered every week to listen to new tunes and also to learn about the history of the music. For example, our students learned that Samantha Baumgartner was one of the first women ever recorded in country music, and she's from Dillsboro. What we instill in our students is a sense of pride of place. They believe, like, hey, we come from the mountains and this is our music. Our program was so successful that we immediately reached capacity of enrollment of about 50 students per semester and had an extremely low turnover rate each semester, less than 10%. The only way you could get into the program really was to be a sibling of a current student or to be on our waiting list, and that continues. So when it was announced that the library was changing directions and that these rooms might no longer be available to us, I searched for a new space, not wanting the politics of a place to impact our ability to provide continuous service to our jam families. Luckily, we were invited by Western Carolina's School of Music to use their facilities, and we've moved our program there. But this came at a very high cost. We immediately lost 20% of our students and families. Some found the distance to Cullowhee prohibitive. Others were comfortable in a university setting. They weren't ready for that with their children. Most of the families that we lost were from the homeschool community, and they already struggle with finding low-cost, high-quality extracurricular activities for their children. There's also a loss of local businesses in Silva, downtown Silva, who benefited from parents running their errands, doing their shopping, while they waited for the hour and a half that students were at the library. We also lost possibly the revenue for restaurants. Many times after jam, which ended at 6 o'clock, we'd head down the street, go to Lazy Hiker, go to Ilda, go wherever for dinner.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. That's been 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Next up this evening, we have John Herron. Mr. Herron.
Mr. Letson is Herrera. H-E-R-A at the end. Herrera.
Herrera. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, you're fine. I am here to show support for the library. They gave me bootstraps and I did not have boots. Mr. Letson, thank you for your vote. Everyone else, we noticed. I know I did. I'm grossly aware of the disillusionment that seems to plague this board on where the community stands on the library and what it has provided to the community. All 5 districts have come together to contradict you every single time. Again, they have to come here to urge you to keep the complex and the library together. You have all stood alone, berated by both community and publications. Frankly, it's embarrassing. I only admire the dedication to being wrong. I have reviewed the budget plan for this year. This isn't about money. You left first responders without, and even cut out the fire tax. That would have helped them for what they were asking for. Directly, I want to ask you, when it comes to the library, where are the ones who support you? You guys always seem to be here alone. Why are you making decisions as if you do not live here? Do you plan to leave? What would it take to break your echo chamber? I hope you read the books that I believe one of my friends will be providing to you. I hope you see the damage you would be doing by severing the complex from the library. 4 years it took to come together, and you're going to only give them 4 minutes to defend it. You would be closing the door for others like me, a young man who was released from prison, who applied to AB Tech, and used the library to apply for jobs. I would not be the man I am today if it was not for that. I am requesting that you keep the door open because there are others behind me. People are being released from prison every day. People need internet access every day. Please keep the library together. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. John? Next this evening, we have Chris Bogardus.
These are some of the books that are listed on the Jexit pamphlet. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to talk to myself for the rest of my 3 minutes. Y'all are welcome to either look the books over or to just sit there. The choice is yours. To Kill a Mockingbird. Anything by Stephen King. A Handmaid's Tale. The Joy of Sex. The Bible. The Koran. The Bhagavad Gita. Welcome to the Monkey House. And then go and crack them. It won't kill you. Just sit there if you want to. Or you can look them over. Yeah, that's what Matthew Shepard. They're actually nice books. There's nothing pornographic in them. There really isn't. Huckleberry Finn. The Joy of Sex. Tanith Lee. Anne Rice. Anything she wrote. The Grapes of Wrath. Keep reading. I didn't think you'd be able to do it. Keep going. Yep, they're bestsellers. Written by real people, for real people. My 3 minutes has taken a long time. And I'm running out of imagination. Did I say Harper Lee? I think I did. Kitchen Confidential. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Talk, 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 talk. Don't pick it up. Whatever you do. Might have cooties. Might be something wrong with it. Have you ever picked up a book in your life? I don't think so. Do you shave your head? You don't need to. I'm keep talking to myself. Talk, 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 talk. I'm running out of things to say. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Oh, mercy, goodness, goodness, goodness. Y'all keep going. Yeah. Take that home to your kids. Be good. Take that home to your Christian kid. Heritage Foundation. I mentioned Huckleberry Finn already. I'm running out of books. You got it. Enjoy.
All right. Next, we have Roberta Buckner.
I'm sorry. Atherosclerosis in the legs. Is this better? Hello, Commissioners. Roberta Buckner, J.C. citizen, voter, taxpayer, 82 years young, 20 years living in Silva, North Carolina, retired. And I'm going to just read this because of this pressure of the 3 minutes, okay? In 2005, when I moved to Silva, I visited the library. Do you remember it? Do you remember it? Did you visit it regularly? Did your children visit it regularly? I visited it once and never returned. Around 2008, wheels began to turn in Jackson County's government offices and elsewhere about building a new library to repurpose and expand our historic 1915 county courthouse to offer better and broader services to our JC community. And then the commissioners made another great decision, which is to ask the community, specifically all the citizens of JC, to raise $1.5 million to fill the library with its needed equipment. And we did it. We did it. And we raised $1.7 million. I was so excited to share in the rise as a veritable newcomer of the JC Library Complex that I donated $25,000 from my retirement funds to support the fundraiser. I was so very proud. I was so very proud of what our town, our county, our state, our federal government had built together for all of us, to benefit all of us. And here we are 20 years later, where our commissioners want to blow it all up and start again over one book and one incident. This makes me sad and somewhat ill. I want my $25,000 back. I gave it to build what it is today. I don't want it fiddled with. If it ain't broke, no need to fix it. It has operated for 82 years under the Fontana Regional Library System, which supports the library needs of 3 counties.
Ms. Buckner, that's been 3 minutes.
Well, you gave the other gentleman more time.
I didn't give anybody more time. No one's had more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh. Can't you give me a little more?
I'm sorry, but no.
You can give me that.
Next up, we have Miss Keller.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckner.
Thank you. I don't need to be uphill.
Betsy Keller.
It will be in the paper.
Hello, I'm Betsy Keller. I'm a longtime resident of Jackson County, 35 years, since others have been stating how long they've lived here. Anyway, I appreciate what Mrs. Buckner said about the library. I remember when there was a lot of community discussion and input and decision-making about establishing the library. And this is a nice small town community where people talk to each other and are friendly. We see each other at the stores, at the schools, at the library, for those of us that still read. A couple of those books that the gentleman mentioned were two books that were required reading. Huck Finn was required reading for me in grade school, and Grapes of Wrath was required for me in high school. And I found it to be a very formative book. It had a great impact on my life. And, I didn't see anything pornographic about it. And look at what kids can see on their cell phone if that's the concern. I really don't understand the concern about closing the library. It doesn't make much sense. I would like to see much more accountability. And I think that the county commissioners, you have a moral obligation to represent the people of this county and the districts that you represent. And I don't see that happening. People have been speaking up. I heard Ms. Hooper saying that the people of Jackson County don't want the library. I don't see any evidence for that. And I think that we need to have a referendum to really find out what the people here want. Because in 2011, the library was established and there was a lot of community support for it. The community room is amazing. The programs that are there and the facility being open to the people. I was appalled to read in the paper that 2 of our county commissioners have only attended 1 out of 6 board meetings for the library. It is so important to you to spend all this money to remove us from the library. And I don't see any benefit to it. And I would like to see a greater moral responsibility and accountability from the county commissioners.
Next this evening, we have Sarah Hirsch.
Hi, good evening. I want to reiterate some of the things that have already been said this evening, and kudos to you, ma'am, for your huge donation to the library. I've only lived here 7 years, but I love it here, and I love the library. And I think people who contribute to build something should be honored. People who destroy things, not so much. And that seems to be all that's on the agenda here, is just destroying something really great that our kids love, our grandchildren love, the homeless love. Who cares? Everybody loves our library, and Tracy is doing a great job. Now, on another note, I want to add that I'm a member of Dogwood Crafters, which is just hitting 50 years this year. I'm a crafter. And we have our meetings at the library and the courthouse meeting rooms. Is that going to go away? I'm also a founding member of Silver Stitchers. Chris is a member as well. And we meet there on every other Thursday evenings. Come on, this Thursday. If you want to see a group of 20 really great people who want to just be together and do craft together, come on. Starts at 6, goes to 8. Last but not least, I want to talk about money and accountability of the county commissioners, because all I have to do is Google, and I can find out what you all make every year, what you get for travel, what you get for meeting attendance. And here it is January, and I'm really hoping that you're going to give a strict accounting of every meeting that you all attended, not just these meetings, but your committee meetings. If taxpayers like myself are paying for you to go to meetings, I really want to know which ones and who. So I'm looking forward to a detailed fiduciary report on our taxpayer dollars being spent on your attendance at meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Betsy Hamlet. Ms. Hamlet?
Yes.
Betsy Hamlet, and I live in Jackson County. 20 years ago, I volunteered on the community campaign raising money to furnish and equip our Jackson County Public Library complex. My job was to track donations, both monetary and in kind. Our then county commissioners presented us with a challenge. They would commit county tax dollars to renovate the historic courthouse and construct a 20,000 square foot addition as part of a combined library complex to serve the added space and services that the county so desperately needed. If the county community raised $1.5 million to furnish and equip the new combined complex, not just the new library addition, but the refurbished courthouse itself. The extent of the community effort amazed me then, and frankly, it still amazes me today. Our citizens knew exactly what they wanted and needed in a new library, and they were pretty much determined they were going to get it. And they were going to devote the resources, time, and effort they needed to do it. It was a massive volunteer effort by the community. No matter what was needed, there was always somebody available with the time, talent, and resources that was going to do it. We had grant writers. We had people doing research on government resources. Other people provided invaluable input on foundations and other contacts they had. We had volunteers who wrote beautiful personalized thank you notes that went out with the official tax reports. We even had the kids raising money books for Rex every summer. As a result, we met every financial challenge on time and what we needed. We opened the campaign with a donation of $140,000. Local friends of the library have been saving over 10 years for a new library. That was almost 10% of our goal. Donations ranged from local children bringing their piggy banks to $250,000 challenge grant from CECO. We had a year to raise that matching $250,000. We did it in 10 months. When we broke ground on May 16, 2009, we already had $1 million in pledges and donations. By the end, we raised over $1.7 million. 100% of our pledges were paid on time and in full. 100% of the money raised went to furnish and equip the new complex because we had a very kind anonymous donor that paid all our campaign expenses. The most amazing thing is we did this all right in the middle of the Great Depression. The citizens of Jackson County certainly can be proud of what we accomplished, and they certainly deserve to continue to enjoy the services of the library that they've come to expect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Antoinette McWatt. Mrs. McWatt.
So first, Happy New Year. I believe Mrs. Super's the only one who doesn't know I've been here before. I've lived here for 23 years, been very active in the Friends of the Library all that time. I almost always, when I get up here, say I'm speaking for myself because I don't speak for anyone else. Tonight I speak for the 650 individuals and groups who booked rooms in the Jackson County Public Library Complex in the year 2025. In January of 2025, Commissioner Smith exchanged emails with Mr. Magaha of Macon County, and he made a statement that the FRL leased on the building, the way I understand it, and they have total control of what happens inside the building. This includes collecting fees, renting out the meeting spaces, which is also a sore point for me. And then on May the 6th, at a commissioners' meeting, Chairman Letson said, we can make those lease changes if we needed to at the end of their lease. My little antenna went like this. I had no idea what you were thinking about. I still don't know what you're thinking about. The rumor, which is based on pretty reliable information, is that the county would like to divide the courthouse from the other building. There are not two entities up there. There's one. It's the Jackson County Public Library Complex. And you've heard so many people talk about that tonight. Without access to the spaces in the historic courthouse, we do not have the facility that this community asked for. The commissioners of Jackson County, the taxpayers of Jackson County invested time, talent, and over $8.6 million building that complex. Without the push to get a new library, the courthouse would not have been renovated. That was a prime mover for the commissioners at the time. I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. We rely on you to make decisions that are in the best interests of all our citizens. I've told you that before. I know nothing about the other stuff you decide. I know about libraries. Citizens have been vocal about wanting the library complex to remain as it is. Maybe not here, not till tonight anyway. The community trust that was established during the time of fundraising should not be jeopardized by changing the terms of the lease associated with the complex. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Casey Wallenwender.
If you talk enough, they start getting your name right. Thanks. I want to say, first of all, that Letson and Bryson, I appreciate you because I feel like every conversation I've ever had with you, you display that you care about our community. And I appreciate that. And then the rest of what I'm going to say, you guys already know. And so what I want to say to our community is this. So a lot of people have spoken and said amazing things. And I have a friend who did a records request. So we had our commissioners decided when they decided there were problems with the library that the community didn't have, that they were going to hire consultants. It cost the community, our taxpayer dollars, $11,000 on top of the sums that we're already hearing, right? Your $25,000, the $8 million, the $1.67 million, right, that have gone into this library. So what they decided to do was spend $11,000 to have library consultants that they said, the library consultants themselves said that they had never done anything like this before. This wasn't really their role. It wasn't something that they were used to doing. I have a friend who requested records from the consultants. And this is from, I'm sorry, Kevin, this is not about you. I don't know you. He's giving us the facts. Someone asked for records, and Kevin says there was not a final deliverable from the consultants. I want that to sink in for a second. $11,000 of taxpayer money, and they cannot offer us anything in writing. They cannot give us the deliverables from those consultants. It is shameful, right? I think it gives us a couple of options. I think there's potential that they didn't want anything in writing on purpose, and that makes me really sad. And there's, right, it's $11,000 of our money. And when I think about what we could do with $11,000, they might think that it's not that much money, right? It could feed a lot of kids. It could buy a lot of winter coats. It could provide heat for people that don't have it. There's a lot of things, right? And so I think our community needs to be aware of that. And I think we need to continue to press for answers. And I think we need to remember whose seats are up for re-election in 2026. I feel like many of us have been waiting for this, and it is here. So I think while they continue to sit here, that we press them for answers, and we remember that what we need is change, and that we need people that are actually going to sit here and care for our community.
Thank you for everyone who signed up to speak. Moving on now to new business and our 26-27 budget calendar and Ms. Fox.
This is the proposed budget calendar for FY 26-27. The proposal is to have the Commissioners' Budget Retreat on February 17th at 10 a.m. that morning. We have reserved the Burrell Building at SCC. February 25th, we will hold budget meetings with the departments and offices. And then during March, we will work on their requests and get those together and give an update to the commissioners on April 7th on the new requests that we're seeing. Then during April and the first part of May, we'll work with the departments and put the recommendation together for the presentation to the board on May 19th. On May 21st, we'll have a special called budget work session to hear presentations if needed for safety, education, nonprofits, and other departments. June 2nd will be the budget public hearing, and June 4th and 5th, special budget meetings with the board. And then June 16th, the adoption of the budget. We can change the dates if you need.
Right now, there's no conflicts for me. Does anyone else have any questions or comments or any conflicts at this time? If not, take a motion for approval of the budget calendar.
So moved.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Since we do not have Parks and Rec here tonight, we do have a need for closed session going into real property and legal. And is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. We are in closed session. regular session. I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. None opposed. We are adjourned. Moving on now to our work session. I'll go ahead and call our work session to order. First up this evening, we have Paul Taylor and Fred Underwood from the Disabled Veterans, or Disabled American Veterans. I'll welcome them up. Good evening.
Thank you for having me come over. Unfortunately, Fred's wife had a seizure,
Oh, no.
so he couldn't come for this. But as you say, for the Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 89, we're in charge of Haywood, Jackson, and Swain counties. We're a small chapter. Unfortunately, because of different things happening, we have a feeling that we're going to be adding some more counties. Murphy's chapter is not doing well. Henderson County's chapter is under suspension right now for not filing certain reports, etc. We have a motto. It's called Veterans Helping Veterans. And I spent 23 years in the Navy. The Navy went out. The doctor said no more ships. And my problem was I did a radar, and that was a ship type job. So I got retired after I finished that enlistment up. We have we call a hardship committee. Any veteran in our 3 counties contacts their VSO or contacts us directly via the state office or the national office. Then we can, if it's $500 or less, we can handle that on the committee level, help them doing different things. We had one gentleman whose car broke down. He was active duty, and he didn't have the money for it. Well, we put him up for the night, paid for his repairs. We also, on Christmas, visit all the nursing homes in the 3 counties. The time we went right before COVID, we did 161 veterans and gave them money, Christmas card, and visited with them to the degree that they could visit. The ones that didn't respond back, really, you looked at their eyes, you could tell, they knew we were there. And we've had several people that didn't have anybody. So we were the only ones that visited them. This year, we got to meet a World War II female veteran.
Wow.
That last time before COVID, we walked into the nursing home, it was right up here, I'm going back toward, and there was a gentleman there we'd visited before. He had been a B-26 pilot in Europe. He has some wild stories. But then last time we went to see him, we walked in, he goes, "Oh, there's my DAV. You were in the Navy, you did this. You were in the Army, you did this. You were a Marine, you did this." He was 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
The only thing we really require from a veteran who has a need is a DD-214. A lot of the veterans we get contact with are through the veteran service officers in the counties. Sheila Setzer for here, Deborah Caldwell in Haywood, and I'm not certain who the one is now in Swain County. For the Haywood, we did a fund drive several years ago. They had a deal for vans that were available for veterans needing transportation to the VA. And we were able to, through the community, raise enough funds to purchase a van. And it's all painted up nice and neat. And the VA pays for the gas and the license and insurance and stuff like that for it. And it'd be nice if we can find enough veterans in the counties over here, we could do it over here too. One of the other things we do is we work with the high school JROTCs. And that is something that's really hurt us because your high school here, Swain County High School, had ROTCs, but because of participation and funding, they went down. So now the only 2 ROTCs we have is Tuscola and Pisgah. The the cadets come out and help us with different things.
We do have ROTC at Smoky Mountain.
Oh, we're coming back now?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll have to get a hold
I
of them.
visited there, and they're they're well,
Okay, I'll have to get a hold of them then.
Yeah.
Because not only do we have them come out and help us with different things, we also do fundraising things for them, like for uniforms and stuff.
they just started it, what, a year ago?
Oh, okay, that's okay. And one of the other things we do, or I do actually, for the cadets, is every December, right at Pearl Harbor Day, I go and teach them about Pearl Harbor. I'm a history nut, and I've got a stack of books about like this big. It's nothing but Pearl Harbor type stuff. Matter of fact, one book has got a copyright date of 1946. We put crosses up on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. That's where the cadets help us the most. We do I don't know if you're familiar with Jukebox Junction. Well, we that big group of crosses you see out there, that's us. And we just picked up Clyde now.
Out toward Bethel.
Right. The one out there, I've got one special unit that I do. Is for Max Thompson, Medal of Honor winner. He's the one that's up the front toward the road and everything. In the past, we have received a nice donation from you all. And luckily for us, we've received some nice donations from different people and everything. So we're doing okay. But, we never know from one time to another when somebody's going to come up with a real big need. We have had some people who had pay a bill or pay for something up to $1,500, but that goes in front of the chapter before we can make that. And that's pretty much all that I can think of, unless you have some questions.
Do you have a card?
I am out.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to go by the storage area where we have some cards.
Information is on the county website. If you just,
DAV.org.
well, if you email me, I'll get you in touch with the
Okay.
guys at Smoky Mountain that's running
All right.
the OTC program.
Okay, John Smith. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because like I say, I just now got ISGA because the people they had before wouldn't call me to come in. And now that I'm doing it, the two chiefs are in charge of that. They're like, when do you get back? Because the cadets were actually shut down. We're writing notes. And this one guy was writing some really detailed notes. And I'm going, are you getting ready to do a lecture? He goes, no, I want to do a report. And I went, okay. So.
Yeah, the superintendent just left, so I wish she was still here.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for your service, sir.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Paul Robshaw with Vision Cashers. Mr. Robshaw?
Thank you very much. I really just came to report on the progress of what's been going on with Vision Cashers. Vision Cashers is a nonprofit, a bunch of volunteers, a couple hundred volunteers and cashers. As you certainly know, Cashers is an unincorporated area, so it doesn't have a government per se. You people are really the government of Cashers, and we are kind of the implementers trying to make things happen. So these are the things that we have accomplished and are working on. I have a brief video that I'll show you shortly that will give you an update on a major initiative we're working on now. But in the past, we built a dog park, thanks to you giving us the land to be able to build it on, and it's been a great success. We built sidewalks in the community where it didn't have any. We've created education conventions for teens and middle schoolers. We've gone on a campaign to get the community to prepare for emergencies, and it's just astounding how many people just want to avoid dealing with an emergency, and then when it comes, they have no idea what to do and they panic. We've been successful at selling at cost at about a 50% discount 500 AEDs and first aid kits and choke devices. So it's been a great success with that. We convinced the rescue squad to run CPR classes And they've now done 15 of them, and I think taught about 200 residents locally what to do in dealing with emergencies. So that's really worked well and is going to continue. We're working hard to create, as you probably know, we have constant turnover of doctors because they just can't afford to live there. And we're working on creating a clinic with 2 to 4 doctors. It's a big task on our part. We'll see if we get it done. We've made a major accomplishment, and this is really good for the county, on building housing. This is what we're calling professional housing, housing for teachers, for nurses, for managers, that level of employment. And we have put under contract 37 acres of land north of Lake Glenville, which is about 15 minutes from Cashiers, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes from here. And it's going to be dedicated to that level of employment for rent and for sale. Some units for rent, some for sale. There'll be about 74 2- and 3-bedroom townhouses that we're building there. We created in Cashiers a free Wi-Fi district and put up dishes around town to be able to have Wi-Fi because it was just terrible. And over the last 5 years, we put together all of the POAs, the property owner associations. There are about 100 of those in the area. And we have them meet once a month to just talk about common problems, common issues. Many of them felt we have all the answers until they got into the room with hearing others and saying, I guess I don't have all those answers. And this is really good to be able to share. And probably the biggest initiative we have is this transforming Cashiers into being a walkable community. It's just been driving, and we're really trying to change the nature of the community to be more friendly, more involved, more communal. And we hired a consultant who told us to build 5 miles of walkability. We've already built about 2 miles and are involved in building another mile to a mile and a half this year. And this video is something that we just produced that we're using to be able to try to get donors to contribute to it. With regard to dollars, the total project is about a $10 million project, and the developers on land where they've agreed to build on their land to make it a walkable area. So it'll all be part of this Walk Cashiers initiative. They're going to pay for their share of the cost. So half of the land is theirs, half the cost will be theirs. And then we convinced the contractors we were able to get to hire to do all the work to do it for cost. And so we think that our $5 million will be $4 million. And so far we've got 158 people who have contributed $2.9 million in commitments. So, I mean, we're really working hard to make this all happen. So if you could turn that video on now.
About 2 decades ago, Bob Dews and a group of local business owners had an idea that was simple but transformative.
We envisioned a trail that would quickly stitch together Cashiers' commercial, communal, and recreational core while preserving Cashiers' unique charm.
You couldn't walk down 64 and you couldn't walk down 107. There were no sidewalks and it really wasn't safe.
We've done the studies. We've done a charrette in 2016 that walkability is a key aspect of how we grow. Being able to park once, walk around. We did the ULI study that said walkability is probably one of our #1 things that people want.
I wanted to walk my daughters down the trail and let them run ahead of me instead of holding onto their hand because they're right next to a car going 30 miles an hour.
In 2023, the Cashiers Area Chamber of Commerce, Jackson County, and Vision Cashiers formed Walk Cashiers.
It's an initiative raising money to expand what started as a modest trail into a 5-mile network of sidewalks, boardwalks, and public spaces known as the Cashiers Greenway Ramble.
It features Wi-Fi, lighting, pocket parks, educational attractions, cultural landmarks, public art, and a story walk.
Why is it important to Cashers? Well, we don't have the municipality to put in sidewalks. So Vision Cashers is taking that one property at a time.
It's beyond important, it's almost necessary for Cashers to be what it can be and develop its own potential.
The Greenway Ramble is doing what the county by itself could not do in building sidewalks and you know, the basis infrastructure that we lack is making up for that.
And the community is behind it. You know, developers are behind it. Everyone's behind it. Why wouldn't they be? You know, it's like a group project with heart and soul.
I would say that the Ramble connects the natural environment that we have here in Cashers with the Jackson County infrastructure that exists, the library, the rec center.
So you've got all of those services, but then you've got your retail component. So you can go get your cup of coffee, you can go to your boutique.
It creates a lifestyle, and what we really love is that it's generational.
And we're building about 5 miles around the core of Cashers. As we build it, we're trying to do things that are experiential.
And it's all about connectivity, walkability to make connectivity.
No matter what you need to do, you can do it on the Ramble. And you never know who you're going to bump into on the Ramble.
And that gives us an opportunity for what really truly fosters community, and that's engagement with other people. We've created that place. We've made it accessible to everyone.
Bringing people together is making community, and making the community is what we're doing.
But this is direct cause and effect. Like, this is what you said you wanted, this is what we're going to do, now we're making it happen.
What makes it such a great addition to Cashers is it really represents the vibe that we as a community want to present to our visitors and our locals.
If we can educate along the way, whether that be with art, whether that be talking about what wetlands are, you know, you've got these opportunities for these, you know, pretty valuable experiences.
And have it be an educational experience for kids to learn about native plants.
We all understand how much it helps, and the results are immediate.
And now you can be a part of shaping Cashers' future.
Please help support our vision for a thriving, sustainable, and connected community at visioncashers.com.
Your donation helps us protect the charm of this place we all love.
Together,
we can walk Cashers.
It's bringing us together.
It's the community that makes this place so wonderful.
What makes Cashers magical is the people. Okay, so that's it. The one thing that I really am pretty proud of is that when we started working on this, I said to Mark and to the Chamber of Commerce, let's do this together and make it a collaborative effort. And to do that and to make it work that way, I said everything's got to be unanimous. So every single decisions that we make with a route, with the cost, with where we're going to spend money, whatever, always has to go to the 3 organizations. And Mark represents the Jackson County, Ben Harris represents the Chamber, and I represent Vision Cashers. And we have to vote unanimously on the action that we're going to take. And if we don't, any one of us are opposed to it, it doesn't happen. So it's really been a great collaborative effort. Any questions?
No, we were working on getting an urgent care up there, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah, urgent care is, I mean, the problem on the medical side, a couple months ago we had no doctors. So getting urgent care is a really serious need.
Yeah, that's what we've been working on.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next up this evening, we have Crystal Jones, the Executive Director of Hawaii. Good evening, Crystal.
Well, good evening. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. It's always a pleasure to come and speak to everybody, and then also to get to speak to the community about advocating for our children here in Jackson County. So I get kind of excited about it because, but then I also realize that there's not a lot of people that know exactly what we do. And the reason why I get excited about it is because we have such a wonderful community that has a great heart for what we do and partnering with different agencies like our law enforcement agencies, DSS, our court personnel. They are really just essential for helping children heal from abuse. But I fail to really explain what we do as a nonprofit here in Jackson County. So I want to take a few minutes and just kind of go through that quickly, and also to invite anybody who ever wants to come by the center to really see it, because that really puts things into perspective of how this process really works. So we have forensic interviewers. We have 3 that are trained. They're trained in very specific modality, and it is a national model that we can back up with evidence-based and in court proceedings and other things. They are able to conduct these interviews for children from ages 3 to 18, and even developmentally delayed adults. So if you have a 26-year-old individual but functions as a 13-year-old, then we are still able to help that individual receive help as well. And so the goal with the forensic interview is to limit the number of times a child is interviewed. So if you remember the game of telephone, whenever the first person would start out and they would tell something to the person beside them, and then it would go on and on and on. By the time it got back down to the original person, it wasn't the same thing. So if you think about a traumatized child who's been physically and sexually abused, telling that information is, number one, very traumatizing. And then by the time it gets back around, the doctor who is involved might not have the accurate information to treat this child. The mental health professional might not have good information in order to know how they need to treat the child. The interviewer, the law enforcement officer, might not have the evidence to chase down to do the correct search warrants or what have you, the DSS worker, and et cetera. And then finally, the prosecutor, you can imagine where that went. It didn't really go far at all. So a forensic interview limits the number of interviews it takes for a child to be able to talk about what happened to them. A child medical evaluation, we actually had the first ever in Jackson County, Swain County, Haywood County, and Macon County, and Graham County. Now we all collaborate together to contract with the Child Medical Collaborative. This has not been done before, and it started here in Jackson County, and I will give the kudos to Renee Coward, my mentor, and just one of my best friends in the whole world. She brainchild this thing up, and it helps us have 24/7 access to these very specialized providers that nowhere else has this access to. It works well for our court cases when we have a forensic interview tied with a medical exam as well. Law enforcement officers are able to get that information to make a decision. Do I need to go arrest the suspect tonight? CPS, do I have an immediate situation where I have a child who is safe, or do I need to make a different decision? So we can make those real-time decisions based on having these professionals in-house and able to do these things. The exams are a head-to-toe examination. They're very different than a regular checkup. The providers have very specialized training. They get trained and rostered from the UNC School of Medicine. And so it is a great program. And like I said, we contract with that agency to provide those services here in Jackson County. Case management and victim advocacy. So yes, they are bilingual. 2 of our advocates are, 2 of our 4. However, they are multi-linguistic, if I could say that. They are able to speak law enforcement language. They're able to speak DSS language. They're able to speak prosecution language, and then translate that all into a family language. So they're also able to speak trauma language as well, because when a family's in trauma, they don't have a clue what you're talking about. So it is very a complicated process. They start with taking in that family as soon as they walk through the door, and they might stay with them until they turn 18. And then sometimes even after that, we still will maintain that contact. So they are really the middleman, so to speak, between the different agencies, but they are the glue that holds it all together. So we actually also have on-site counseling now. We have 2 therapists. We're about to have a 3rd, and one of the therapists is also bilingual. And so we're really proud of this initiative. We didn't have therapists on site as staff members ever. This is the first time we've ever had this available to us. And so it offers an alternative and confidential environment for children to recover from abuse. this is very critical because our outside contracting agencies, that's not all they see. So we all know that it is very difficult for all the different agencies around the county to see all of the clients. We know how busy they are. We know how strapped they are for just having the retention of mental health therapists. And so we took it upon ourselves to be innovative. And so we have a system that works. And so we're able to retain them. We're also able to help children graduate from modalities. In fact, we've had almost 20 children. I'm going to approximate 20 children graduate from therapy. And I'll just be incredibly transparent and honest. I didn't used to believe in therapy. My history is in the military and also in law enforcement. And I was taught that therapy was just not something that people benefited from. I'm a believer now. I will tell you that not all children benefit from the prosecution side. Not all children benefit from, having a medical exam. It takes different things for different children to heal from their abuse. But where we see the most benefit is when they have all these services and they have access to a therapy, to a trauma therapist. And so we are seeing incredible results. So the multidisciplinary team encompasses all of these individuals and organizations that you see here on this list, and it includes more. I'm so proud of our Jackson County multidisciplinary team because sometimes there's not enough seats in our house to have this meeting that we have once a month. Sometimes we're sitting on the floor. And so we have a lot of caring individuals that come to the table to sit down to talk about this list of cases. And sometimes there are about 60 to 70 cases that we are trying to run through in one day, and it is heavy. We also have Lady May. She is probably the star of the show. I will just be honest. She is our bloodhound. She is our new therapy dog, and she is off at training right now, but she's fantastic, and I will bring her by at the next meeting that I'm here for, and she is going to be great. We also do puppet shows for our younger children to help them understand what's happened to them is not love, because sometimes children, that's all they know. They think that what is going on to their body is just how mommy or daddy show them love, or how another caregiver shows them love. They don't know any different. And so we're the first group sometimes that show up and we're like, no, that's not okay. That's not safe touches. And so we do that. We also send out newsletters. We also do tours of Awake. So this is kind of where I want to slow down. I know I spoke really fast. There was a reason for that. I didn't want to take up all of your time. So these are the statistical trends from fiscal year 2024 to 2025 that we have saw. There has been a significant growth in the total of new individuals served. We also are serving Cherokee right now. However, when I pulled the statistics, I was able to determine that only 8% of these numbers of the raw data actually come from Cherokee. Most of our data that is from Cherokee is given to Swain County because that's where the children reside. And so we have a different tracking system for those children. So I will say that you are seeing data that is specifically for our Jackson County children, and it is scary. We've had a sharp rise in the personal advocacy services, especially individual advocacy and forensic exams and interviews. So I don't know what to attribute this to, other than I think that, one, we are in the community where there is more awareness. I think our team members are also pushing for these interviews and these exams, which is a wonderful thing. But I also think that physical and sexual abuse has always been there. But I also have concerns that our digital availability for children and adults is taking precedence over protecting children. And I also think the threats that are there on the digital platforms are becoming far more dangerous than we could ever expect, and very quickly. We also have seen a shift toward older child victims, 7 to 17 years old, whereas we have a typical trend sometimes to see it ebb and flow towards smaller children. And I think this also leans toward the possibility of the digital, the dangerousness of the digital platforms and being available to children. The victimizations, particularly sexual and physical abuse, have increased substantially. So we will see neglect cases when they are referred to us, but particularly with sexual and physical abuse. And also, I'm not talking about a spanking. We're talking about potentially torture abuse that we're seeing. And we're also not talking about one or the other. Usually it's both. If there's one, there's two. And these are things that I really think we need to prioritize within the community, with every community, not just Jackson County, but the entire nation. Emotional support saw a major shift increase, and I think this is because we have the availability to do that. So I think this last part of it is a great thing that we're able to do that. So here's some of the raw data. You can see the shift, and I actually have some more of it as well, just to give you some percentage increases. It is very difficult to see the raw data. Sometimes you have percentage and you're like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean 2 kids? Does that mean 4 kids? No, this is what it is. In 2023 to 2024, sexual abuse cases, we had 79. And the next year following up, we had 139. That's 60 more children that we saw. Physical abuse, 33, and then 70. Neglect, 4, and then 19. Witness to violence, that could be like a DV situation, domestic violence situation that we're seeing, or something different. Drug endangerment, I will say it's kind of small, but I also think that there's going to be a very significant rise in that because of the new statute that come out that made it a felony. If you're not aware of that, please give me a call tomorrow. I'll be in the office. Be happy to tell you that statute number. Also, it's posted on our Facebook page. Kidnapping, non-custodial, that's kind of low, which is a wonderful thing that we like to see. We don't want to see any, but if it's going to be there, we want it low. So that's where we're at with that.
This is really shocking, about this data.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you really don't know what contributes to such a rise within just a year?
No, and honestly, I do think that it is particularly specific to the digital availability.
Like, how would that, I don't mean to be...
So digital crimes, child sexual abuse material, that has been an increase. Also, I think the world's just getting meaner. I don't have another way to say that, or a more professional way to say that.
Or sicker.
I think the world is just getting meaner in general. I also think that there's a lot of other things going on within the world that is taking our focus off of our children. And that's just part of it. But I also think that while we are focusing on all of our priorities, we also need to prioritize with children, because I've said this before. If we want to put a dent in poverty, it starts with children. If we want to put a dent in our crime rates as adults, it starts with children. If we want to put a dent in homelessness, it starts with children. Because if we look at the national statistics for adults with these things that they suffer with, a lot of them are victims of child abuse early on in age. If we go to our prison systems and we say, how many of you were victims of child abuse or had a sibling that was close to you with child abuse, there's a significant amount of them that will say yes.
So.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like every person that hurts a child is a victim. That's just not true. But I will say there's a significant amount.
Do you see repeat?
Yes, absolutely, we do.
So I guess these folks are getting charged and then getting turned right back loose out on the streets.
Sometimes, we don't have any control over that. But then also sometimes it's a child-on-child offense, or it's, another family member. More often than not, we know it's not stranger danger, even though I'll have a caveat to that in a second. But it's somebody that they know. It's a family member. It's a friend of the family. It's a close associate with the family. But we are seeing a little bit of the uptick of the, quote, stranger danger. But I will associate that again to our online platforms like Roblox, to online chat rooms again. We've heard of that like a long time ago, back whenever I was very young. It's been a while. But those online chat rooms, that's there in our children's games. And I think we don't take it seriously. I think sometimes we want to give a child an iPad and that is its babysitter. We can't do that. We have to be careful as adults and as parents. We have to take things more seriously.
A lot of parents know about what goes on in a chat room. When you consider a kid just playing a game,
And I'm so glad that you said that, because we offer free training. anytime. We will do it after work hours. I will tell you another thing about the staff at Awake. I have the most amazing staff because they fight to come in. If it's after hours case, they argue about it. I can't get them to take leave, hardly. They are so dedicated to standing in the gap for children that I've never seen such dedicated employees anywhere in my life. So they're
Breakdown of where the referrals are coming from.
So we take
law enforcement versus DSS or other sources.
Yes, I can get that. But yes, we take referrals only from law enforcement and from DSS. We don't get them from anywhere else because essentially, if they came from somewhere else and we didn't have law enforcement or DSS involved, we would have no teeth to do anything about it.
Well, the reason I asked, I know North Carolina changed their reporting criteria.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering if that's could have affected the numbers that's being reported, or
it absolutely could have. So the requirement now, as of 2021, with General Statute 14.3.18.6, requires everybody to report not only to DSS but also to law enforcement. So that is a requirement. But I also feel like a lot of community members do not know that, and so one of the things that we work really hard at is getting that out there as well. Is saying, okay, not only do you report to DSS, but you also report to law enforcement. And so it's so vital to do those things. And any community organization, any group, or 2 or more people, if you want a training, will do it. So we encourage that.
I think Path NC changed the acceptance criteria as well to a lower level. So
yeah,
you may get more cases accepted.
So these are the total number of children served in comparison. They're unduplicated. 148 in 2023 to 2024, and 2024 to 2025 is 241. This is 62.8% increase. New individuals served is 100, and then 128 is a 28% increase. So we are we're responding to the need. Our partners are responding to the need. They care about the kids. We're doing everything that we can. And I will tell you, we're doing it with less. The federal government, which is Victims of Crime Act, I know I've talked about this before, that is not taxpayer funded. It comes from white collar crimes and restitution. They decreased our funding from VOCA specifically in Jackson County by 31%. That is a $26,000 shortfall for us specifically. But again, the staff show up. They show up if it's 9 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're there. And we're dedicated to it. But this is what we're doing. Yeah. So what this equates to is this $26,000 goes towards food for children. It goes to labs for children. If a child has an STI, this goes to treatment. If there's medical supplies necessary for the children, we do it. If there is something like if we can put a door, that squeaks when the door, or that chirps whenever the door is open, we do that too. Like we'll buy a camera system for a home to keep a child safe. Yeah. We go those extra miles for this family because that's what we need to do. The supplies for the victims and their families keep them safe and often keep them alive. That is our goal. Is not just to keep them alive, but to keep them safe and to also help them thrive and heal from their abuse.
Even with like the chat room thing that, I was not aware of, but I know they can go in there and chat, but I never thought about sexual predators. I guess I just don't think that way.
Absolutely. And another thing.
Can you not maybe hand out something simple, even in grade school or kindergarten to parents so they can, even if it's for several years, so that if they read it enough, it might sink in?
Yes. So we are all about it.
Okay.
We do it all. We've worked on it. Yes, absolutely. It's like we're treading water sometimes, trying to get ahead of predators who want to hurt our children. Yeah. And it is very difficult. I will also say another thing that we are seeing is chatbots. And so a predator will create chatbots and send them out into chat rooms while they go out to their day job, and they'll come home and there will be 7 or 8 children just waiting. It is a very scary thing, and I can't iterate this enough to our caregivers to protect our children and to implement boundaries and rules. Yeah. This is our contact information. our phone number. My extension's 101. If anybody needs to ask me any questions, I'm there for it. So if you do want a tour of the facility, please call me ahead of time so that we make sure you don't have any children there. So we have to maintain that level of confidentiality, but we will do it. We will give tours of our facility for sure. It makes it all make sense.
Thank you so much, Crystal,
Yeah,
for
thank you so much.
all that you do for all the kids in Jackson County,
Thank you.
especially those that are in need, severely in need.
Yeah, we appreciate all you do.
I appreciate y'all.
The more
Thank
we
you.
can do to get ahead of these predators, you know.
Yeah, and please let us know if you need additional funding for that gap that you're gonna have that's coming up here.
Don't worry. I'm going to. Thank you.
Figured you would.
Next up, we have Callie Moore, who is the Western Regional Director for Mountain Tree. Callie? Good evening.
All righty. Thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our work at Mountain True. So Mountain True is, of course, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And let's see if there's a way I can make this full screen. This is a different, oh, well, that's better, even though it's off to the right a little bit. Okay. Is this a touch screen? Yes. Okay, great. I'll just do it that way. I can roll it. Okay. Sorry about that. I made it a PDF because I thought it would be easier than trying to match up PowerPoints. It's a little harder to keep it full screen. All right. Our mission is to champion clean water, resilient forests, and healthy communities in the southern Blue Ridge Mountains. And we do that through three major program areas. The first one is improving water quality. And so we have a wide variety across our large region, which I'll show you a map in just a minute of the whole territory that we cover. We have a large variety of water quality monitoring programs for our rivers, lakes, and streams. One of our flagship programs is the Swim Guide program, which is a weekly E. coli water quality monitoring program to help people know where it's safe to swim. And when I get to the more Jackson County specific slides, you'll see, and you probably already know, that Watershed Association for the Tuckasegee River does that program in Jackson County. So Mountain True does not do that program here because we don't want to duplicate efforts, but it is a program that we do across all the whole rest of the territory where no one else is doing it. We have a landowner technical assistance program for like stream bank erosion problems and stormwater runoff problems and things like that. We do stream and riparian restoration projects, and we often have a grant program available for fixing leaking and failing septic systems, and we're about to have another round of funding that will be available in Jackson County for that. So those are just some of the ways that we work to improve water quality. When we do find a water quality problem in a river, lake, or stream, we work to determine what the source of that potential pollution problem is, and then we work cooperatively with landowners and business owners and whoever it needs to be involved, agencies, to try to get that problem fixed so that our waters can be fresh and clean. The second program area is protecting and restoring forests. So we review all the projects that happen on public lands like the National Forest or in some other parts of our region, Tennessee Valley Authority lands, and we work to we have public lands field biologists that know a lot about forest ecology and forest communities and where there's rare and sensitive habitats, where there's old growth forests and things of this nature. And so we work through the public comment periods to let the agencies know, when a place like that might be affected on the forest. And then we also do a lot of non-native invasive plant control and habitat restoration, not only on federal lands, but also on local parks and local public lands and greenways, again, as you'll see in a minute in Jackson County. And the third program area is healthy communities. And so in healthy communities, we work a lot on land use planning and transportation planning efforts. We help local communities advocate for sidewalks, bike paths, greenways, things of that nature. And we also have a housing director, and we have been working more recently on affordable workforce housing types of projects in communities that are in need, which is pretty much all of the communities across the Southern Blue Ridge. So this is our western region. So Mountain True overall covers 26 counties, which is all of western North Carolina and 2 counties in North Georgia. And my territory, so my office is in Murphy, North Carolina, and this is my territory. I cover seven counties in western North Carolina and the 2 counties in North Georgia. And you might be curious as to why we cover the 2 counties in North Georgia, and that is because the Hiwassee River, the Notley River, and Browstown Creek all start in Georgia and flow north into North Carolina. So we don't want to chop off our headwaters, so we include those 2 North Georgia counties as well. All right, moving on to things that we've been doing recently in Jackson County. So the first thing I want to say is that there are other partner organizations that overlap with our work. So those big program areas that I told you about across our region, in different parts of our region, including Jackson County, there are other organizations that are doing pieces of the work, like Watershed Association for the Tuckasegee River doing the swim guide program, for example. So one of the things that we do best is actually assist and support partner organizations in the ways that overlap with our mission. And so this is a list of some of the organizations, maybe all of the organizations, I hope I didn't leave anybody out, that we've recently been working with in Jackson County. And on the same lines of collaboration, we are part of a regional network called the Sickle-Fin Red Horse Conservation Working Group. It involves all the agencies, Wildlife Resources Commission, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Eastern Band, lots of different agencies and organizations that are working to improve fish habitat for the sickle-fin red horse and other species that are rare in the Little Tennessee River Basin, which of course includes the Tuckasegee watershed. Also, the Little Tennessee Native Fish Conservation Area Partnership. I'm actually the chair of the partnership for this 2-year period, and we're very involved in working with other partners, just across the whole Little Tennessee watershed to improve water quality and habitat. The Blue Ridge Snorkel Trail, I'm sure, hopefully all of you are familiar with this. Jackson County has a site at East LaPorte Park, and very exciting, and we're still working to expand that and include more sites with the signage and the information about species that you can see. East LaPorte Park is actually one of my favorite sites on the Snorkel Trail. There's lots to see there, so if you haven't been snorkeling yet, highly recommend it. We have a volunteer monitoring program for microplastics in our waterways in Jackson County. So I think we have 6 sites with 6 different volunteers that are monitoring microplastics in the water. Alrighty, I've lost my ability to scroll. Here we go. All right, as you probably know, we recently served as the fiscal agent and project manager for development of the Headwaters Conservation Plan, which I'm really excited that y'all approved that last October, and looking forward to hopefully working with you to implement some of the recommendations in that plan. And then we've done a lot of habitat restoration work. Most of this is in partnership with other organizations at East LaPorte Park, the Future Riverside Park in Cullowhee, the Curve organization, and Pinnacle Park with the town of Silva, and along the Jackson County Greenway. And we're also planning educational walks and talks with Friends of the Greenway in 2026 and Parks and Recreation. Last time I was at one of your commissioners' meetings, your consultant was giving a presentation about the parks system, the awesome park system that you have. And one of the things that people wanted in the survey was more educational events. And so we're happy to be helping, working with Trevor and Friends of the Greenway to help provide those. The first one is on Friday at 1 o'clock at the Jackson County Greenway. It's a winter tree ID workshop that my colleague Tony Ward will be leading. So just a little more about our work at the Jackson County Greenway. And these slides are different because my AmeriCorps service member did a separate presentation and I just stole the slides out of it. But we've been working since January of 2023 on the Jackson County Greenway hosting volunteer work days, again in partnership with other organizations, namely Jackson County Parks and Recreation and Mainspring Conservation Trust on these. But you can see there are other partners. So we started in January of 2023, and so the dates are weird because we don't do this work in the summertime when it's hot and there's bees and poison ivy and other plants all over the place because it's just not fun for the volunteers. So we only do the work from April to October, and we're removing things like Chinese privet, multiflora rose, Oriental bittersweet. There's a whole host of non-native invasive plants. And so from January 2023 to April 2024, we had 9 work days, and you can see there 96. These are unique volunteers, not so we take out the ones that keep coming back. So these are unique volunteers, 288 hours. And then from October 2024 to December 2025, we again had 9 work days, and we had 132. This time we had students from Sarah Parsons' environmental science class, so that kind of boosted the numbers. But we still have a lot of community volunteers. It's definitely not all students. And so all total, since we started, we've had 228 unique volunteers and students that have put in 626 hours. And in addition to the kind of native plant and native habitat benefits of removing these invasive plants, also it's a safety hazard because these plants that we're removing, pretty much all of them have leaves year round. They're real brushy. They cover up the entire underbrush, like and the big trees, and so like people that are up to no good and hot in there, and it's just not, it's not as safe. And so
Floral rose is nasty.
I know it is, yeah, it's thorny stuff. But removing these things also helps with the appearance of the greenway and the safety of the greenway. And it really, getting people involved, they enjoy it and they have a lot of fun. And so we're requesting $5,000 to support continued habitat restoration and the education events on Jackson County Greenway. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about Mount True or our work that you may have.
I don't have any questions, but I do have one statement. There's a lot of sister organizations that tie in back to you guys, and I just know one that comes to mind is Big Brothers Big Sisters, who partner with Friends of Panthertown, and so what you're doing is teaching kids.
Absolutely.
All areas and all walks.
It's actually a really good idea. We have reached out to some other organizations to set up specific work days, but Big Brothers Big Sisters I have not talked to, so that's a great idea. We might.
Friends of Panthertown. I went on with them right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
we work with them a lot. Yeah.
I was surprised at all the things that they were finding.
Yeah.
From microplastics to dragonflies, you name it. It was.
Now, what do you call them? Microplastics? Just trash?
Just trash.
Plastic?
Microplastics, so plastic trash never goes away. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. And the microplastics are the ones that you can't see except under a microscope. And so they're fibers, films, and fragments. And we we filter the water, and then we count the different pieces of microplastics. And it's a screening tool. It's just to make people aware about the issues of plastic trash. What can you do about it? Not too much, except make people aware and hopefully reduce, single-use plastics that are not, that are reducible. We can't get rid of all plastic, obviously. There's a lot of need for it in the medical field and et cetera, but there are some things that we can reduce. And so, hoping that people will. So.
Making an impact, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate your presentation. Next up, we have Executive Director for Circles of Jackson County, Dawn Netherly.
Brought my client services coordinator, Rachel Bird, with me in case you had questions. First of all, it is so lovely to see you. I didn't get a chance to speak with you last year for various reasons, and so it's good to be back among you. We didn't do a fancy presentation for you because what Circles does is based in forming relationships and creating associations and sharing information with each other in a one-to-one kind of manner. So I just wanted to kind of chat with you a little bit about us in that same sort of way. And I want to start out with something. You know, we have a lot of anti-poverty initiatives that happen in Jackson County, and we have a lot of people doing great work. But I want to give you a statistic that's a positive statistic that you don't often hear. Jackson County has a 5.3% unemployment rate. That is significantly lower than the national average for unemployment. It's lower than the state average for unemployment. Our people in Jackson County work. They find jobs, they go to jobs, they work those jobs. What they need is that information, that education that helps them understand how to do a better job managing their money, figuring out their resources, seeing what's available in the community for them, working together to make things happen. And we don't provide things at Service. We provide knowledge. We work on bridging the gap between crisis intervention and long-term sustainable stability. We don't want people to go back down the poverty ladder. We're the next step. They go to the crisis centers. They go to the homeless centers. They go to those places and they get their feet settled just a little. I like to say that they have their head above water in the pond and we're going to bring them out here onto the bank. We're going to get them out of the pond. So we try to provide that intangible support, and we do that using the community itself. Our whole program is based on not just teaching. We don't just lecture people about what they need to do. We match them up with active members of our community, people who are doing a good job, not rich people or just everyday people that are making a living. We match them up as mentors. We call them allies. And those people work with our clients to teach them what they already know. A little quick story that I tell all the time. I had a client who came to me, and we always tell them to try and save $25 out of every paycheck to build an emergency fund. And I had a client that said to me, I can't do that because I pay that late fees every month to the power company. And I said, well, why are you paying your power bill late? And they said, well, my paycheck comes 2 weeks off from when the power comes due. So I'm always late. And I said, you know, if you take your pay stubs to the power company and you show them what date you get paid on, they'll move your due date to match when you get paid. She said, they will not. And I said, yes, ma'am, they will. They may not advertise it, but they will. And she was able to go and get that switch and be able to start saving that money. Well, that was something that my daddy taught me when I got my right out first job. He's like, you make sure you get your bills lined up when your paycheck is. Well, maybe they didn't have a daddy that taught them that. Right. So we try to match them with people that will. Now, we interact with everybody. We interact with social services. We interact with a lot of these agencies here. People come to us as their clients are beginning to get, like we were just talking about Awake, as families get their feet under them a little bit more and they're ready to start moving forward, we support them in that. We work with the people at DSS when there are referrals that are made. We work with all the local churches. People contact us and say, hey, I've got this great person who is busting it, working a minimum wage job, doing everything they can for their family, and they don't know how to do any better. And that's where we pick up and come in and work it. Now, the other thing that we do that is real significant, and Rachel and I always want to put that out there, is we do tremendous amount of work with the university. We provide internships, we provide mentoring, we provide volunteer opportunities, because we believe that experiential learning will cause these college students to have a desire to engage in community service and hopefully even stay here and do that community service. And the reason that Rachel and I both laugh about that is we are both Western alums that stayed because this place meant the world to us. You know, we're not native to here, but we're here because we love what we see in Jackson County. So we try to work with the university to do that. And the other neat thing about the way our program works is our clients really don't ever graduate. What they do is they just keep moving forward. So
not going to the high schools and talking to these kids about this stuff? Because there's kids that graduate that, like, sometimes they come to work for me and I mean, they don't even know how to run a washing machine.
They're clueless, yeah. We have gone into the alternative school quite a few times and done presentations. We have had an idea in our head that we'd like to create a youth version.
I'm not talking about just alternative. I'm talking about high school period.
And I think it's definitely something there, and we would like, as a growth option, to work with Dana and work with the school system a little bit more to do that. We are indirectly connected with them, but I think it's a great point. We're also talking about wanting to do that in the new domestic violence shelter, to go in and do that kind of presentations. And what we like to say about the presentation part is Rachel and I will come and talk to anybody.
Right.
And even if we don't get a single client that joins our program, if we got some information out there that we can help make a difference, then we will. And
Well, you know, too, if you maybe started out at a level like in high school or something to help kids learn how to save money and do that, it might keep them out of situations.
we want to work more on prepare rather than repair. That is definitely something that's in our line. It's simply a matter, honestly, of getting the process, because when you're working with young people, you're working with underage, so you've got to also have parent permission to do it, or it's got to be an integrated part of the school system. You know, so that's where we don't just sort of walk in on it.
Well, and y'all's program is a year long or 8 months long, isn't it? It's not.
Oh yeah, the way it is now. Yeah, well, now we could still always do presentations, but to actually engage young people with mentorship, they're doing a great job with that at Heights, and they're doing a great job with that at Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and we work with them and we share information with them. So there are programs that are engaging young people that way. Our clients, when they're adults, they come into us, they do a 10 to 12 week education program where they come once a week, and we teach them the psychological and sociological causes of poverty. We teach them how to present themselves better, how to speak, how to goal set, how to manage money, how to set budgets. And then when they come out of that program, we match them with those allies, those mentors, and they sign an 18-month contract. They spend a year and a half under contract that they will meet together a minimum of once a week to work on the goals that these clients have set for making a change. And the thing is that they don't leave after that. That's why we said, whenever people say, how many clients do you have? I'm like, I don't know how I answer that, because they never go anywhere. Just as an example, we have circle leaders who started this program working minimum wage jobs, accepting every form of social services available to them, who now own their own businesses, who've got post-high school educations, who have full-time professional employment. We have circle leaders who began living in substandard housing and walking to work, who have access to reliable transportation. 40% of them own their own vehicles now. They work living wage jobs. They live in safe housing. 15% of our clients end up being homeowners. They end up reaching that point. So we see those results, and they stick around. She's on maternity leave right now, but my facilitator, the person who educates my circle leaders, is a graduate of our program who now has a professional degree in psychology and human services. Our board has a member on it who is a small business owner who was originally a client. And it grows in such a lovely way. A couple of weeks ago, a former client of ours who moved to Florida to take a much better job called me and said that her teenage daughter was moving back up here to live with her father, and her teenage daughter wanted to come back to Circles because she'd grown up as a child there, and could she come without her dad?
That's what I was going to say. I know my wife has been volunteering for Circles and Cashers, and there were times where I would go to just entertain all the kids.
Children grow up and
learning those processes as well.
We have 2 chapters here in Jackson County. There is a chapter in Cashers, and there's the chapter here. We did that because when you're dealing with clients who are just getting their feet under them about transportation and how to access and everything, that's a long gap. It may not seem like it's a real big distance from here to Cashers to those of us that can jump in our car, but it doesn't work real well otherwise. So there's 2 different chapters, and they do their own funding just like we do our own funding. And we also kind of divide things up. You'll hear from them too when the applications come through later on. What y'all have been able to do for us over the years that is measurable in the importance of it is you've been able to help us pay for Rachel and I to exist. And we do everything we do on a budget that's a little bit less than $110,000 a year. It is intellectual property. And most of what we do is volunteer driven with us at the helm to train, to provide supervision, to be the emergency, because Rachel is a social worker, I'm a therapist. You know, we have those backgrounds. But it's just about you bring us salary. Salary allows us to have professional staff of a high caliber that can create the programs that will teach the other things that happen. And then we teach those things. Our circle leaders most of the time stay in this community. They go to school in this community. They become working members of this community. And then they stay involved in the process and continue to give back. It's just a beautiful thing. And it speaks so to what community is like here. You know, so when it comes time to do the applications, you'll see the same request. It's help us keep our professional salary in play. I will give you just as a general heads up, because some of you I've seen over the years, this will be my last full-time year. I'm going to retire at the end of 2026, and hopefully Rachel's going to be coming in to step right in and take forward on that. But Rachel does almost all of our direct client contact, and I'm kind of more in the business and oversight. So if you have any questions, we're both here. We'd love to answer.
How many years have you done this?
7 or 8.
Thank you for everything.
Well, thank you for being here and supporting us in this wonderful county.
It's a great program, and you can see it. I mean, people come back and just are helping others to learn the process and make that leap forward in terms of how they manage themselves. And
you know, we've been very blessed because this county takes care of itself. We take care of our own people. We always have. But, you know, honestly, even though we shouldn't, we would do what we do even if you didn't pay us to it, because we know it works. You know, and no, but I mean, you know, if you think about it, yeah, I have a master's degree, 30 years as a therapist. Rachel has a social work degree and excellent historical background. I mean, y'all can do the math. You can't hire 2 people to do that for the whole responsibility that we have. This is budget. So we do it for less than what might be our professional value because we believe in what we're doing. And the county supports us both governmentally and individually. And the biggest thing I would tell you, if you said to me, what can I personally do for Circles? I would say volunteer, be an ally, be a mentor for one of our clients as we work on that. We'll take your money. We need your money, but we need volunteers desperately too. Anything we can tell you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up this evening, we have Brian Honeycutt, President of Jackson County Arts Council. Brian?
Yeah, all right. And we've got a video that will start here in just a second, but I wanted to thank you for the invitation to speak with you. I'm Brian Honeycutt, President of the Board of Directors for the Jackson County Arts Council, and I'm also joined this evening by several members of the board and staff. And first, I wanted to share this short video that we put together that just talks a little bit more about what we do.
Welcome to the Jackson County Arts Council. For nearly 5 decades, we've kept the arts alive in the mountains of North Carolina. Founded in 1976, JCAC began with a simple goal: bring more art, opportunity, and creative connection to Jackson County. Today, as a nonprofit 501c3, that mission continues, empowering artists, engaging residents, and making the arts accessible to all. In a rural community like ours, the arts are more than self-expression. They're essential. They give young people confidence and pathways forward. They bring neighbors together across generations, and they contribute directly to local vitality by attracting visitors, building pride, and strengthening our creative economy. Over the past 5 years alone, JCAC has invested more than $325,000 directly into our local arts community. That support has reached hundreds of artists, inspired thousands of students, and brought exhibitions, performances, and creative opportunities to people of all ages. This local impact reflects a much bigger picture. According to data from the North Carolina Arts Council, arts and cultural nonprofits statewide generate billions of dollars in economic activity, support tens of thousands of jobs, and contribute significant tax revenue. Investing in the arts here makes us part of a proven engine that strengthens economic health. We make this impact possible through a few core efforts: targeted grants that help artists and organizations grow, arts education that sparks creativity in young people, exhibitions that showcase local talent, and professional development that helps artists build sustainable careers. Behind every grant and program is a real person. After Hurricane Helene dramatically altered her life and art practice, artist Annie Jacobson received a $1,000 JCAC grant, support that helped her adapt and continue creating. This is what investment in the arts looks like at a human level. We're proud to work alongside the North Carolina Arts Council, our county commissioners, and many local partners. What makes JCAC unique is our deep connection to this place. We are of Jackson County and for Jackson County. Looking ahead, our vision is clear: expand grant funding, strengthen arts education, and grow recognition of Jackson County as a regional creative hub. We've come so far, but the demand for art support continues to grow. To meet that need, we need partners who share our belief in the transformative power of the arts. Your generosity can double our impact in the next 5 years, ensuring that every child, every artist, and every resident has access to creativity. You can support the arts through major donor giving, sponsoring programs, planning a legacy gift, or partnering with us as a community-focused business. Together, we can ensure that every artist has opportunity, every child has access to creativity, and every resident benefits from a vibrant cultural life. We invite you to be part of that future. Thank you for supporting the arts in the mountains and for continuing this conversation with us.
All right. So that covers, I think, pretty well who we are and what we do. As you saw from the video, we maintain a close relationship with the residents of Jackson County, and one that's going to continue to grow over time. We support artists working in a variety of mediums, and the constant goal is just to increase our support for those artists and the community whenever possible. One thing to keep in mind is that art is everywhere in our world, in our community, and in our daily lives. It's not limited to museums or theaters or concert halls. The music that we listen to, the clothes that we wear, the cars that we drive, all those things wouldn't exist without artists at some point in the process. And in many cases, those artists won't be able to create as effectively without community support. So if you've been to Painting Up the Mountains or the downtown Silva Art Walks, even if you've eaten at any of the local restaurants, odds are you've interacted with local artists or their work that we support. 2026 is going to be the 50th anniversary of the Arts Council. So we have a lot of big plans on the horizon. We want to increase awareness of who we are and what we do, and increase the community support in general for the Arts Council. So to that end, we're very grateful for the continued financial contributions from the county. The annual grant has been consistent for the last decade. That $10,000 that's provided by the county is easily doubled, if not more, in terms of local economic impact. So investing in the arts, it means investing in the community, and it's low risk with great returns whenever you look at any of the numbers. We also partner closely with the library. We have our office on the second floor. Our board meetings are in the conference room. Previously, we used the community room for JAM, the Junior Appalachian Musicians, and we use the Rotunda Gallery year-round for local art shows. So in addition to that annual grant that we'll be putting in, I'm also requesting that there's consideration to renew our lease when it comes up in the end of June, I believe. So the closing reception for our annual group show is actually taking place on January 23rd. It's open to the public, but I wanted to bring you all invitations specifically and hope that you can attend and see firsthand what we're all about. This is one of the largest group shows that we've had, and it was a great turnout. It's been well received by everybody that came through. So I think would be great if you can attend at some point and just again see firsthand what we're doing and then why access to that space is so essential both for the Arts Council and the community. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have this evening about the Arts Council. And Angie also has all of my contact information. If you have questions, concerns, discussions on public artworks and that sort of thing, we are more than happy to partner, collaborate, and help out.
Rough estimate, how many artists do you support? I mean, like in terms of, I know it's hard to say with jam and, you know, all that is going on, but if there was an impact number of people that use you guys.
Individual artists?
Artists or like people who attend our
I would say
events?
artists, because I know attendance is probably a much larger number, but just local people that are engaged with you guys.
Do we want to include jam?
I think you could.
our
Well,
students?
jam is probably what, 200 kids?
It's actually about 50.
Yeah, 50 a semester.
Per
Okay,
semester.
per semester.
So we've got 2 semesters plus our summer.
Yeah.
And then we've got 2 string bands, which are about 8 to 10 students per string band. And then we're averaging about
What is it? It's like 2 dozen, maybe more
about
artists.
40 artists plus we have 20 artists in the group show, and most of them were new artists that we've engaged this year in their regional.
And we also utilize like all of the students at SCC, WCU, in the K through 12 schools are brought into all of our activities. We offer things for every age group.
We did a show for with Western, and they hosted a show there with their students. So we have a multi-prong in the community. So
We've got a show potentially coming up next month for SCC painting students at the Rotunda Gallery. So it's always increasing.
Yeah.
Like every activity that we do, every workshop we offer, every festival that we participate in, more and more and more and more people are coming out of the woodwork
Get engaged.
to participate with us.
Yeah, we're also offering more classes that are led by local artists for other people in the community. If you're interested in leatherworking or portrait painting or whatever the case may be, all different types of artwork.
low
We're-
cost or free.
Yes.
We've raised the
local-
funds for scholarships.
Yep. So, yeah, lots of growth. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Next up this evening, we have Miss Selzer, Mary Otto Selzer for Friends of the Library.
There's the clicker, I think, that I'm supposed to use.
Yes.
I'm asking for some assistance from Antoinette because I'm just getting over bronchitis. So I'll just introduce myself. I'm Mary Otto Selzer. I'm a resident of the Caney Fork community. I've been a member of the Jackson County Friends of the Library for over 20 years, I think actually since 2002. And at least for 15 of those years, I've been on the board for the Friends. I've also had the privilege of serving on the Jackson County Public Library Board, the Fontana Regional Library Board, and I had the distinct honor of being the co-chair with Dr. John Bunn of the Capital Campaign Committee to raise the money for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the Jackson County Public Library Complex. And I'd like to just talk to you all tonight a little bit about some of the history of how we came to have this beautiful complex in our community. Thank you. So the historic Jackson County Courthouse
Both buildings faced challenges in the 1980s. Over the next 15 to 20 years, Jackson County leaders and community groups discussed these challenges with no resolution, while both the library and the courthouse structures continued to deteriorate. In 2003, a joint library facility was proposed with Southwestern Community College. It would be located on the college campus, which is actually more or less the geographic center of our county. Over 160 people attended a presentation at the Balsam Center. I was one of them. And there were 36 community speakers, 33 of which opposed the plan and asked the county to please consider locating a library in downtown Sylva, a new library. In 2007, Jackson County leaders began gathering data regarding the feasibility of the Courthouse Hill site to accommodate a new library facility. And they commissioned, a library needs assessment was commissioned by a grant. Next one. The service priority study, 9 focus groups were held throughout Jackson County, from Qualla to Cashiers to Balsam to Savannah, the far west of the county. 155 individuals participated. These service priorities, accompanied by comments that were collected during these focus groups, helped define the spaces and services desired by the community in a new library. Also, based on the current population of Jackson County and the projected growth rate, a 26,000 to 35,000 square foot main library was recommended to supplement the existing 12,000 square foot library in Cashiers. Next. So the top 6 spaces and services developed from the community's input are listed here. A community room offering versatile space intended for diverse activities sponsored by the library and by the community for meetings and events. The former courtroom handily provided this multi-purpose space, as did the rotunda, which was just mentioned by the Art Council folks. They put on exhibits there all the time. I always look forward to those new exhibits there. It was ideal for exhibit and gallery space. Former office space on the first floor was perfect for a good-sized conference room. The library breathed new life into our beautiful historic courthouse. Jackson County engaged Ronnie Smith's architectural firm, McMillan, Pasden & Smith in Spartanburg, to assess the feasibility of an addition to the 6,000 square foot historic courthouse that would meet the recommended site and accommodate the recommended size, and accommodate the identified spaces for our new library. This rendering on this slide, is the initial conceptual rendering. A base budget was developed, approximately $10 million. The friends in the community were asked and challenged, I would suggest, by the Jackson County Commissioners to commit to raising $1.5 million for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that would be needed for this facility. This would be one of the largest community fundraising efforts in Jackson County to date. So the commissioners asked to have a fundraising feasibility study done. Fundraising feasibility study, the report was presented to the commissioners in April of 2008. The community members and the consultants were very impressed that the Friends had already raised over $140,000, or 9.3% of the funds for the required furniture, fixtures, and equipment. With 9 of the 12 key questions posed to the participants during the interviews having responses of 80% or better, plus the encouraging indications of giving levels, Sims and Steels, the consultants, recommended that the Friends and the board of the Jackson County Public Library proceed with plans for a county-wide capital campaign to raise the 1.5 million towards the overall furnishing and equipment budget for the library courthouse project. And more importantly, their recommendation was, we think we're highly confident that the community is going to rally behind this project and we're going to be able to raise the money. So the Jackson County Commissioners recognized this need and voted to fund a new library in late 2007 with community financial support. After more than a decade of debating the values and desires of the community, the Commissioners chose the historic courthouse and its grounds for the new library complex. As seen in this final rendering, hopefully this building looks very familiar to all of you, a 20,000 square foot, 2-story addition was added to the historic courthouse. A 2-story glass atrium connects this historic treasure to the new construction, creating additional community space for folks to gather, for exhibits to be shared, and for performances to be enjoyed. I went back through some materials that I had, and we had just lots of quotes from people all over the county about why this project was important to them and why they were behind it, and I just sort of chose these two. But these two quotes really captured the sentiments that we heard over and over again throughout the county. It was condensed and used as the motto for the new complex. It was used extensively throughout the capital campaign and is even used today. And that is that this complex is honoring the past and embracing the future. Fundraising. To make this new library complex a reality, needed a little bit of money. As I mentioned, the initial budget was around $10 million. So the county committed over $8 million, and once again, the community was asked to kind of put your money where your mouth is. You know, we need at least $1.5 million to furnish the building. And the committee set a goal that we wanted to have at least $1 million committed and/or in the bank when we did the groundbreaking. So folks with deep roots in our beautiful mountains and newcomers alike all shared a common sense of purpose and vision to breathe new life into this historic courthouse and to incorporate it into our community's library for all to enjoy for decades. And we, those of us who are on this committee, sort of came up with this as our motto, was that half of doing is believing you can. And we all believed that this was possible. So our goal was met. Over $100 million. Oh, goodness, sorry. Had been raised and was announced at the groundbreaking ceremony in May of 2009. But there was still more work to be done. We'd just like to highlight one of the fundraising efforts. I think Betsy Hamlet mentioned this earlier too. And this was the Books for Bricks summer reading program. It was a reading program that we worked with Sue Nations, who was the superintendent of Jackson County Public Schools. And basically it was to encourage kids to read books over the summer. They call it kind of the summer freeze or thaw or something, you know. And basically children got pledges for $1 for each book that they would read over the summer. And these young fundraisers raised over $6,300 for that. And there's a little plaque, well actually it's a good sized plaque in the children's area that honors those students who participated in that fundraising. We actually were successful in raising over $1.8 million. And once again, the gifts ranged from children bringing in literally little Ziploc bags of coins with their little piggy banks, to SICU, SICU Foundation, which was our largest grant, and that was a challenge grant of $250,000. So in order for us to get any of that money, from the time they gave us that grant, we had to raise $250,000 or we did not get that grant at all. And we were successful in doing that. So 1.6 million of the 1.8 that was raised was used for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and the other 200,000 is for collection development. So we're here tonight to talk about the new library complex, which opened on June 11th of 2011. Over the past 15 years, the library complex has been a focal point for our community. It has drawn visitors to our region to explore this beautiful facility, as well as to discover other Jackson County attractions. The complex, without access to spaces in the historic courthouse, is not the entity that the community asked for and gave their time, talent, and money to make a reality. Without the historic courthouse spaces available to Jackson County Public Library patrons and the community, the library will no longer function as a center of lifetime learning and community engagement. So we ask that Jackson County renew the lease related to the Jackson County Public Library complex to continue to meet the community's needs and expectations. Thank you.
So, any questions from the board?
Thank you. Yeah.
Good job on the history, by the
Yeah,
way.
that's-
Well,
And with
That's
bronchitis
going back on
nonetheless,
dates
yeah.
too.
I was going to say something about the ages of some people on the commission. They might have been in middle school at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to talk about my age. But you know my name, you have my email. I'm very happy if you have questions at any time. If I don't know the answer, I'll do my very best to contact someone.
Thank you so much.
And also, if you'd like to get a tour and want me to take you there, I can't sing and dance, but I can walk you around. And
No musician.
If you do that, I'll
Play
go.
the fiddle.
Okay, I'll
Just-
sing and
I'm just
dance.
talking about-
I'll take you up on it.
Any other business tonight? If there's no further business, I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
No opposed. We are adjourned.